Hello everyone, welcome back to Heart Breathings, where we have been discussing the elements of a best-selling series, or how to write what I call an anchor series. And I know that last week I did tell you that I was done with tips. However, I'm going to throw in one more bonus tip that is going to help you to grow your series long-term. And that's really what we're looking for, is a long-term strategy that will continue to grow your income and your fan base for years to come. So let's get talking about this one bonus tip. Okay, so the bonus tip that I'm talking about is to always use the beginning of your series as your loss leader. And this is not something I've invented or was at all the first person to think about this. This is just something that has been a tenet of business for years and years and years, that you offer a sale price on something that's desirable to get people to come into your store. It's the same thing that you see, Black Friday, where they'll run these like really big deals, like come in and get this amazing like $500 pots and pans set for $99, and they only have a few of them. Well, when we're dealing with digital products like our books, we have unlimited copies to give away or to offer at a discount, unlike stores that want to give away physical merchandise, but it still works in a similar way. When you have a series that is what I'm talking about, an anchor series, something that is going to draw fans in and keep them there, and reading and loyal to you for years and years to come, you can use the beginning of your series as a loss leader. So instead of, offering that set of pots and pans for $99, you can offer your first book in the series, like a taste of the series and your writing and everything else, for just 99 cents. Or you could even later in the series offer it for free. So today I'm going to talk about the pros and cons and the different strategies involved in creating those loss leaders for your anchor series. Okay, so I will just go ahead and preface this by saying, like, right now it's March of 2018 and Mercury retrograde is in full effect for me, because I recorded this entire video and it was like 30 minutes of footage earlier today, and I somehow, when I moved my mic, muted the entire thing, so I had no audio. So I'm re-recording this, but hopefully that will mean a slightly clearer explanation for all of you. So here we go. Hopefully nothing else bad will happen and you guys will actually be watching this tomorrow. Okay, so outside of that sidebar, we've been talking for the last couple of weeks about how to build an anchor series, or how to build a best-selling series. I will restate this, but this is not necessarily like my strategy for how you like wallpaper Amazon with your books and make the most money you can. I know that a lot of people out there, especially right now, are telling you all about like how you can write really fast, how you can get as many books out as possible to make as much money as possible. However, not all of us can do that. Some people can do it great, and it's a great strategy to put out a lot of books really fast. But if you're more like me and you can only write a handful of books a year and you want to be more strategic about what you're putting out into the marketplace, it is so important to really step back and think about what you're putting out and how you're presenting that to the world. So on one hand, when you're an entrepreneur and an indie writer, you are this passionate artist, you love your work, there's stories you want to tell, and you've got that, it's like, oh, this is the story, I've got to write this super passionate side to your business, which is great, and that's how you end up writing great books that touch people's lives. But on the other side, you also have, the businesswoman or businessman hat that you have to be able to put on, which is, how do I package these novels that I'm so passionate about in the best way to grow my career? And, balancing both sides of being an indie author, that's really where the challenge comes in. So what I would like to encourage you to do, and what I've been talking about for the last 2 weeks, is instead of just blindly following that passion and following it down the road of, I'm going to write all these different things and I'm just going to throw this series out and this series out and this series out and see what sticks, and I'm going to write multiple genres and everything else. Pull yourself back a little bit and think, what's the one thing I'm most passionate about? What's the one thing I could write for years, like that I really want to get out there to my fans? It's hard to pick one. And if you guys are interested in a video and how to make a choice as to which one of your ideas makes the best, please comment below and let me know, because I do have some tips on that as well. But for now, just pick that one series that you think will work as the best anchor series. It could be the most marketable idea. It could be just the idea that's tugging on you the hardest. It could be the one that's the easiest to place into a clear genre. It could be the thing that you think will write the fastest because you've just got all these ideas flowing from you. Whatever it is, pick that one thing and focus on it for the next year or two. You may be writing things in between, but when you're talking about publishing, this is one of the biggest marketing tools that you can have before you talk about advertising at all. You're building the advertising into your series. And I really cannot drive that home enough, because if you build the series strongly from the beginning and you have that strategy from the beginning, you're going to sell more books over the long term. So this is not like Sarra Cannon short-term get rich quick scheme. This is like the guide to write something that you love and make money at it for years and years to come. So let's talk about this final tip, which is how to use a loss leader at the beginning of your series to continue to bring readers in. Okay, so the basics of what I'm talking about is every single time you release a new book in your anchor series, you set that first book at some kind of sale price. Now, the sale price is not necessarily the most important thing. We could talk about strategies in terms of, do you set it 99 cents, $1.99? Do you set it free? Is $2.99 considered a sale price? That's not quite as important for this discussion as to know that you discount that first book in some way so that you're bringing in more readers to the series, as many readers as you can get hooked in. So for example, when you put out your first book, it's full price. Now, you could run a sale, like 99-cent sale, and then tell everybody you know, go and buy that book and get a good, nice launch to it. But then personally, I would put that right back up to full price. Then when book 2 comes out, you've got a sale that you can run on book 1. So of course you want to advertise book 2. Absolutely. You want to let people know, hey, book 2 is out. If you enjoyed book 1, it's time to get book 2, etc., etc. But you don't want to put most of your advertising dollars on the advertising of book 2, because you want to bring in as many new readers as possible. So for example, you've got, let's say 1,000 people picked up book 1, like when book 1 was brand new and it was first out. And now you've got book 2 coming out. If you advertise book 2, really your only audience for book 2 in most cases is that 1,000 people that bought book 1, right? So if you spend like $500 advertising only to, book 2, then you're only advertising to those 1,000 people, or you're advertising to a bunch of people that will be like, well, book 2 looks cool, but I think I got to start at the beginning. Now, I do understand that there are lots of series, especially like standalone romances, where they're standalone, so you could pick up book 2 and enjoy it just as easily. But a lot of readers, and I would say the majority of readers, like to start at the beginning. So that's why we use this idea of a loss leader. So when book 2 comes out, instead of advertising the heck out of book 2, you do what you can to advertise to those 1,000 people for free. You use your newsletter, your Facebook page, bloggers, stuff like that. But where you spend your advertising dollars and your real advertising time is going back to book 1, and you send as many new people in, because if you run, let's say your book is normally $3.99, and when book 2 releases, you set book 1 to 99 cents, you could bring in another 1,000 plus people within the first month of that release that are also going to be buying book 2. So now, instead of just that first 1,000 people, all, percentage of those buying book 2, you've got those 1,000 people, and now you've got, 1,000, 2,000 more people that bought your book on sale at 99 cents. With a loss leader, every single time you have a new release in this long series, like remember we just talked about having 5+ books in your anchor series. Every single time you release a new book, you drop book 1 to 99 cents or $2.99 or whatever your sale price is going to be. So let's say your typical price is $3.99 on a new release. So you release book 1 at $3.99 in January. 60 days later in March, you release book 2 at also $3.99. But at the same time, you drop book 1 to 99 cents, and you put, all your advertising dollars into that 99-cent sale. And then you notify your current readers about the $3.99 new release. That draws in even more readers, that some of them are going to go on to buy book 2. Then when you start to see that sale being less effective, like a week, 2 weeks into the new release, you bring that price back up to $3.99 or whatever the normal price is. This allows you to set it back on sale again, and readers like to see that it's a limited time sale. It's just like psychology of sales. If you've got it free all the time or 99 cents all the time, you will get that trickle of people in. But I think when you're first building that series, it's really important to let it be a limited time only sale. If you have a different experience with this, I would love to hear it. But in my opinion, if I was starting a brand new series, I would do it with this limited time sale instead of like always 99 cents or always free right from the beginning. If you guys are interested in seeing a video on the different places that you could market those sales books, like when you're running that 99-cent sale or that temporary free sale, where can you advertise it and how can you advertise it? I would be glad to do some videos on that. But I'll just briefly touch on a few of the places that you could advertise it. You could go to bloggers that blog about that genre of book and ask them if they'd like to feature your 99-cent sale since you've got a new release coming out. You could go onto Goodreads and mention it in genre clubs and book clubs there. You could also do some paid advertising, so Facebook ads. Amazon has ads that people call AMS ads. BookBub has CPC ads that you can pay per click, so you can be featured in their newsletter, but I'm not talking about their featured deals that you have to apply for. I'm talking about their actual like advertising, like I think it usually goes at the bottom of the email. So there's are some other ways. Plus you do have the featured deal type advertising where you get into a newsletter. So most of these places like BookBub, Free Booksy, Bargain Booksy, Robin Reads, My Romance Reads, Fussy Librarian, a lot of those newsletter lists are curated like readers that enjoy reading bargain books and discovering new authors. So you can pay those places like BookBub, you know, a certain fee to get featured on their list for your genre. And at that point, they'll give you a date, like May 10th might be your date. And on that day, when they send out their featured deals newsletter, they'll send out a picture of your cover with a little blurb that says like, this book has 5,000 5-star reviews on Goodreads, you have to pick it up or whatever. And then readers will see that and they will download those books. Those are really, really powerful ways. So if you guys are interested in hearing more detailed explanation on where you can advertise those sales and your loss leaders, I'll be happy to do a whole video on that or a series of videos, but let me know down below in the comments, okay? For today's discussion though, instead of going deep into that, I'm just going to let you know that what my strategy would be personally if I was building a new anchor series would be to continue to drop that price of book 1 to 99 cents or whatever sale price you feel comfortable with or that's working for you. Like if your books are normally $4.99, dropping that first book to $2.99 could be enough of a sale. But remember those places I'm talking about, like Bargain Booksy, BookBub, a lot of times they want to see a single book dropped to 99 cents. That can be the sweet spot in terms of where you're going to be able to get advertising for. So I think 99 cents is a good way to go. I just wouldn't leave it there because, to be honest, at 35% royalty, you're making almost nothing on it. So you don't want to leave that loss leader, you know, down at 99 cents for a super long time unless you're seeing that sell through. So every time you release a new book, you drop that first book to 99 cents, get as many readers in, and that continues this circle of sales. So they go on to buy books 2, 3, 4, and so on in the series. Now, I also want to briefly touch on free books. I'm sure all of you watching this understand and know that free books are a very powerful marketing tool. However, I want to stress the fact that free never works as well as it does the very first time you set things free. I've learned this from years of experience. The thing is, if you set the book free really early on in a series, you've got that, like what indies call perma-free, it's permanently free. You've got that something that keeps pulling people into the series and you'll still get downloads, maybe 100 downloads a day or more. However, if they don't have a lot of books after that to purchase, you're not going to be making as much money for that free loss leader as you could if you waited until later in the series. Sometimes it's a very delicate strategy because it's like maybe you really want to boost this series really big straight from the start. So you may want to experiment with this as you develop multiple series. But in my experience, free is never as good as it is right from the beginning. I have a book that's been free since 2012. It's much harder to get people to download it even for free now than it was back in 2012 because it was brand new. It was like a new free book and they'd never seen it before. Now, 6 years later, everybody on those lists has had a chance to see that book and decide if they want to download it. So it's much less effective. However, if I had waited until now to put it free, there's two things to think about. It could be that I wouldn't have as many people reading my series now as I do today. Or if I had followed the 99-cent strategy, it could be possible that I could set it free now with 9 books after it, and I could make, $100,000 in a month. So you just have to take it one step at a time, really think about it and be strategic for when you're setting things free. Don't do it because you're panicked about sales. Every time you raise that loss leader back up to full price, sales are going to drop. It's just the way it happens. Very, very few indies are like constant sales all the time. I don't even know anybody that's like that. It's a rise and fall. It's an ebb and flow. You're going to have months where you have new release and a sale, like loss leader sale or whatever, and there's going to be sales are flowing in, and then you're going to have like 3 months between releases and everything's full price and you don't have any sales, that things are going to dip low. And you will learn over time, and I will cover different strategies for how to keep things coming back up when you see those low points. But with free books, you're going to want to strategize setting that first book free if you ever want to do it, which some people may not. If you continue to see great sales all the time, you may not need that free loss leader. You may do great with the 99-cent sales occasionally. However, at some point, a lot of us indies do want to bring in that huge influx of readers. We're talking like maybe 100,000 in a month sometimes when you first set your book free. But I advise that you do it very strategically, that you wait until you've got, if you're doing an anchor series that has 7 books, I would wait until at least book 5 to set book 1 free. So I would release book 1 at full price. When book 2 came out, I dropped this to 99 cents. And then it comes back up to $3.99. When book 3 comes out, 99 cents, $3.99, and follow that pattern until maybe book 5 comes out, or maybe even book 6 is coming out. Then I set book 1 free, and I get every kind of advertising on it I can get, especially BookBub, which is like the big one, and spend some money on Facebook ads, getting as many people to download that free book as possible. And I've heard people before say, I worked so hard on this book, I would never set something free. That's like devaluing my work. But it could not honestly be further from the truth, because it's a percentage game. It's a numbers game. If you're selling your book at $3.99 and you're selling 10 copies a day, you're making about $27.50. And then you've got, maybe 90% of those people are going on to buy book 2. So you're making like another $25, and so on throughout your series. But let's say you set your book free and you get a BookBub and some other ads that you stack along with it, and you end up with 40,000 free downloads of book 1. Now, you don't make any money on book 1. You make $0 instead of the $27.50 that you were making. However, out of that 40,000 people that downloaded your book, maybe 10% of those are now going to go buy book 2. And 10% means 4,000 people instead of like 9. So it's pretty easy to see the math there, and it's not going to be that way every month, but it can be that way when you stack those ads or you get that big advertising, and that can bring in thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, for example, my biggest BookBub month ever was November of 2015, I want to say at this point. I'd have to go back and look at my sales, but it's been a couple of years since I had like one of my biggest months ever because of a BookBub ad paired with a new release, and I made $36,000 in a single month. And that was all about strategically waiting to set that book free until I had more in my series to go. And that was my Fair Hope series. So if you wait until you get that like sweet spot later in your series, I think you're going to see a lot of advantage from that. So I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about with being a loss leader. It doesn't mean that you're charging less for your book because it's not worth it. It's just that in this day and age, time is our most valuable resource, and we're asking people to spend time reading our books, stepping into our world over Netflix and Game of Thrones and games they want to play, and going to the beach and spending time with their family, and who knows where people spend their time watching YouTube videos. Instead of doing that, you're saying, no, choose me, choose this book. And if they've never heard of you before and they've never read anything by you, they may think it looks kind of good, but like, do I really want to spend $5 getting into a series I might not enjoy? Some people will download the free sample, but some people will never see your book at all. And when you run these sales and you offer that first book as a loss leader, you get visibility. You gain visibility to so many thousands more people. Plus, you become this automatic like impulse buy. It's like being in the line at Walgreens when you're like, you know, you've got all your stuff you need for your house, and like there's that cute little lip balm that's only 99 cents, you know. It could end up being the best lip balm you've ever used in your life, but you wouldn't have noticed it maybe if it was $5.99. Because it's 99 cents and it's right there at the checkout, you grab it. And then now you could be like using that lip balm for the rest of your life. I don't know, that could be like the cheesiest analogy of all time, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. It's like your book could be incredible and you have all these readers that would love it, but because it's full price and because you're not getting this rankings that you want, they never even know it's there. By using that first book of your series as a loss leader and being strategic about when you price it low, when you set it free, you could draw in hundreds of thousands of readers who otherwise may have never found you, and make it super easy decision, like snap decision. Of course I'm going to get it. It's free. It looks amazing. It's exactly the kind of thing I like. I'm going to get it. It's free. If it's $5.99, you're going to have that hesitation from a lot of people for trying a brand new author at a full price. But 99 cents and free, readers will snap those up if it looks good, it's got good reviews, and it's well branded, and all these other things that we've been talking about. These are my bonus tips for marketing and selling that anchor series. Set that first book as your loss leader. Every time you have a new release, drop it to 99 cents. Once you have 4 or 5 books, consider setting it free. If not permanently, at least temporarily, to draw in like a whole new fresh blood for your series. If you would like to see more videos talking about places like Facebook ads, Amazon ads, BookBub, and how all that works, like newsletter lists and advertising, please comment below and let me know. I've been getting a lot of really good requests for like, how do I use this board in the back? So I'm going to be talking about that next week. It is not a plotting board. It is a like a time management board. So I will be talking about that next week, but I would love to set up videos that you guys are interested in seeing over the next few months as I set up my content schedule. I just want to say thank you so much for supporting Heart Breathings and this channel. I sincerely hope that you guys have enjoyed this series of videos and that you've gotten a lot of good strategies to use for your own career. And if you have any questions or suggestions for content, please leave it down below. If you have not yet subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you'll be notified the minute a new video goes up from me. And other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. All right, bye.